returned the game. I didn't get another game, even though Sly would have hooked me up. It's just, you know, I'm looking over the selection there. I've kind of played everything I want to play, and then, you know, all the ones I haven't played don't really interest me, so there's not a lot out at the moment. It's a bit of a drought in games. Oh, there goes that wind again. Yeah, so I had a bit of a chat to Sly. We got a few things planned. Some videos planned, some mountain missions planned, so that should be cool. I had this really kind of weird customer today. Like, I'm an air conditioning tech, and I do a bit of residential and a bit of commercial air conditioning breakdowns and servicing, that sort of thing. But I had this lady, and I rocked up there this morning because that was my first job on my job sheet, and no one answered the door. I tried calling her mobile, which was on my job sheet, and she didn't answer, so I left a voicemail. I waited about half an hour, and then I'm like, alright, I'm going on to my next job. Nothing's happening here. So I get to my next job, I start working, and she rings me back, and she's like, oh, you know, sorry, I forgot all about it, and blah, blah, blah. I was at the swimming place, you know. And she said something weird, which I didn't quite catch. She said something like, oh, I wasn't far from the house, but I didn't have any clothes on me or something, like, and I didn't really catch it, and I didn't think a lot of it. I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, yeah, but I'll be back soon if you want to come back. And I'm like, yeah, I'll come back, because I wasn't too far away at my second job, but I said I got to finish this job first. Easy. Yeah, and so anyways, you know, I went back there to do my first job, which was after the second job, and I rang. This was like an hour later. I rang just to make sure she is there before going back again. And she's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you called, because I'm actually out. I'm trying on lingerie, and like at the local shop." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And she's like, "Yeah. Hang on a second." And she like puts me on hold or something. And she's like talking to some other chick. She's like, "Ow, that hurts" and stuff. And I'm just like, "What the hell, man?" And anyway, so she's like, yeah, come now, I'll head home. Alright, so I'm like, yeah, right. So I finished up my paperwork at the second job. Oh, there's that fiery smell again. Smells good. Yeah, and I get back to her house. I'm like, knock on the front door. And she pops her head out of the window upstairs, and she's like, hang on, I'm just in the shower, just go out of the shower, come in, the door's open. And right now, I'm like, oi nah. I'm like, oi nah, man, like, oi nah. I mean, this sort of shit just doesn't happen. This is like something out of a porno. Or, like, this chick's just trying too hard, man. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you know, I'm down for that. But, you know, I hadn't really seen her face or anything yet, and she didn't sound real good looking anyway. It was kind of a bit scraggy. Like, it was like, hey, you going? You know. You know, on the phone, it's kind of like, I don't know, it just wasn't attractive. But what she was saying was cool enough, but just her voice wasn't doing it for me. So I go inside and she comes down in a bathrobe, and she's like, oh, I just got out of the shower, it's such a busy morning and stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Like, what's the problem with your air conditioning? And she's all like, oh yeah, it's leaking water from this vent and stuff and blah blah blah. Carrying on, and you know, pretty much the rest of the conversation was all normal. Oh, dude, it's getting real cold here now. Yeah, like there was a few other little things as I'm working. She's like, oh, you know, I just had this new housemate move in, and he's such a hunk. He's such a young guy and stuff. He's got eyes like you and shit. She's dropping all these like one-liners and shit. You know, and I had a few smooth replies. Like I said, when she said that, I said, oh, you like younger guys, do you, and stuff, because she had like 10 years on me. Not that that's a problem, but once again, she was a bit of a scrag, a bit of a hood rat, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you would not only need like a carton of beer before you'd go there, you'd probably need a paper bag too. Like, or maybe even 2 paper bags in case one falls off me, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, oh, it's getting so cold. I shouldn't have squid it tonight, it's too cold for this. So, but like, you know, there's no real punch to this story. It just kind of fizzled out. Like, obviously, you know, I got a missus and shit, and like, once again, you'd need to be drunk as fuck and like a couple of paper bags to go there. But, you know, she kept like making hints and stuff. She said a few other weird things and shit, like she's a nurse and she gets hit on at work and shit. And she's like, yeah, I don't know, just wasn't feeling it, eh? I'm like, I was actually quite glad to be leaving, to be honest. But don't get me wrong, man, it doesn't make me gay or nothing to not be interested. It was just, it was just desperate, man. Like, I mean, chicks don't have to try hard to get laid, you know? All I gotta say is like, yeah, sure, let's go. You know, so when a chick seems desperate to me, it's just like, far out, you know, you gotta work that hard to get laid? Like, really? But once again, I said it once and I say it again, she wasn't that good looking. Oh, it's funny, you're going through these cold patches, it just gets more and more cold the more open it gets. And I think there's water here too, so oh, it's getting real cold now. I'm going to leave it there, guys, because I've got to motor on and get back to some warmth. I'm getting blue balls.